Lorena Wiebes should not have been disqualified from the Giro Italia women, and what's more, the UCI weight limit should be just abolished. Now, this is the fact that the minimum weight of a bike in competition has to be 6.8 kilograms. That's been in place since 2000, and the rule was originally brought in because in those days there was a race to make ultralight carbon bikes. Carbon was a relatively new material, people were quite sort of nervous about it, but that was more than 20 years ago. Nowadays, really, firstly, carbon has come a long way, but secondly, bikes are built in a safe way, they're tested in a safe way, they have to pass ISO certification, they have to pass separate regional specifications, and if they race in the UCI has its own tests to verify that a bike is safe for race competition. So that ultralight weight point doesn't really add up to making a bike safer. What's more, if a bike is below the minimum weight, say if you had a frame that's 400 grams, it's not the case that the UCI would say you have to make the frame heavier or make it more rigid or more kind of reinforced. They just say you had to have a ballast to it of 200 grams or however much you needed to reach the minimum weight. So it wouldn't actually change the safety picture. Beyond that, obviously brands aren't going to make components that are going to be innately unsafe. It's good PR if someone wins a mountain stage in the Tour de France on your bike. It's bad PR if it actually kills the consumers that buy it. Bike brands ultimately need to make safe components. It's a fundamental requirement of trading. Now, beyond that, there's a sense that it might be an equalizer, that bikes might become super expensive if they were ultra light. But again, bikes are already super expensive. Almost all the bikes used in the World Tour, men's or women's, that you'll see in competition are going to be £10,000 plus. In terms of lightness, they're actually relatively heavy. Some of the most expensive bikes in the World Tour are 7.5 kilograms. You look at the Colnago Y1RS, or you look at the Factor 1, these are actually quite heavy bikes because aerodynamics is the thing that often adds more expense because you've got aerodynamic tube shapes that are more difficult to design, aerodynamic components that are more difficult to design. Weight is not a discriminating factor. What's more, you can actually buy super light bikes actually quite cheap. You could buy yourself one of many super light Chinese frames, or just a second-hand frame that's rim brake compatible, go onto eBay and buy the lightest components around, probably get a build that's around 6 kilograms for an overall bike build for £2,000, all in second-hand stuff. It's not the case that light bikes are prohibitively expensive, and definitely not for pro cyclists. So on the whole, I think this whole rule needs to be rethought. It's a total waste of bureaucratic time to have to weigh these bikes repeatedly. The idea that it's any sense going to make cycling safer or make the riders safer is totally deranged from the reality of the consumer ecosystem of bikes, the manufacturing of bikes, what actually makes a bike safe or usable in competition.